This video contains or may contain spoilers for Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is a masterpiece and a damn near perfect game, one of the best out there right now. However, it's pretty rare to find someone who likes every single aspect of the game just as it is and wouldn't want there to be a little more or a little less of something in particular. In this video, I'll be listing off some changes that I would personally make to Hollow Knight. As I said, this game is nearly perfect, so these are all just minor nitpicks of mine and not legitimate harsh criticisms or anything. First of all, I might make the items in Sly's shop just a little less expensive, especially the practically necessary ones. I get that these items are meant to be rewards that you work for, and that geo is pretty plentiful throughout the game, but it really isn't at the start of the game. I definitely think the price of the simple key he sells is ridiculous, because you'll need it to get into Confessor Gigi's house so she can summon your shade to get back your geo from it, but you need a substantial amount of geo to even get there. The Lumafly lantern is also overpriced, and you practically need it since you have to go through the parts of Deepness that are otherwise dark to reach Hera. I'd say reduce the price of items like that by maybe at least 200 or 300 geo. Second, I'd adjust the notch costs of some charms. I don't think that 4 notches is too much to ask for any charm at all. I just don't get why Soul Eater and Deep Focus in particular are 4. I think 3 would have been perfectly reasonable for both, especially when you compare them to certain other charms. I personally think Quick Focus is a lot more useful than Deep Focus, and Quick Focus is only 3 notches. As for Soul Eater, I don't think it makes much sense that this one is 2 notches more than Soul Catcher, when Mark of Pride is only 1 notch more than Longnail, especially when you consider that the increase in the amount of soul you gain from Soul Eater compared to Soul Catcher isn't that much, only 5 to be exact. Speaking of charms and notches, I'd change the way the charm binding in the Pantheons works. It wouldn't prevent you from using any charms at all, but reduce the number of notches you can fill to 2. That way you can still use something like Soul Catcher or Spell Twister or Sharp Shadow. If you try to equip any that cost more than that, it won't make you overcharmed, it just won't let you, like trying to unequip the Void Heart. Speaking of Void Heart, people have pointed out that the charm binding for the 5th Pantheon specifically doesn't make sense, because it technically unequips the Void Heart, which is illogical because its description says that it can't be unequipped, plus the knight wouldn't be able to beat Absolute Radiance without it. Additionally, the other bindings don't completely eliminate things, just reduce some aspect of them. It could still be called a charm binding, though. Next, I'd have it so you can't offer the delicate flower to any NPCs until you've delivered it to the Traitor's Child's grave. It's just mean to the Grey Mourner, almost like destroying the flower on purpose just to make her upset. Taking the flower to the grave makes more sprout around it so you can take those ones to other NPCs, so why not just do that? In short, I'd make it so that the prompt to give the delicate flower to Oro, Elderbug, and the Godseeker, as well as offer it to Eternal Emilicia and the White Lady even though they won't accept it, wouldn't appear unless you've delivered the flower to the grave and gone back to the Grey Mourner. Finally, I think there should be more achievements that you get for things instead of just hidden hunter's journal entries or whatever. I think that the Path of Pain in particular is worth more than just a journal entry that doesn't even count towards the journal's completion and a 3-second cutscene. Same with the Weathered Mask entry for completing all pantheons with all bindings. I just think that if you can get achievements for getting one charm, leaving Zote to die, and killing the nailsmith, you should also be able to get achievements for much better and more complicated things. Here are my specific ideas for more achievements. The achievement for completing the Path of Pain would be called Regret. The description would be, complete the Path of Pain and witness the hidden memory at its end, and the icon would be the silhouettes of the Pale King and young Hollow Knight looking at each other like they do in the cutscene. The achievement for completing all pantheons with all bindings could be called Unbound. The description would just read, complete all pantheons with all bindings, and the icon would be a chain like the one that appears when you apply a binding in one of the pantheons. Then there would be 3 more achievements for beating all the bosses in the Hall of Gods at all 3 difficulty levels. I'm not sure what these achievements would be called though, because Attunement and Ascension are already taken. My best guesses are Idolized for beating all bosses on Attuned because that gives you a Void Idol period, Form or Given Form for Ascended because that's the description of that form of Void Idol, and maybe something like just Radiant for beating all bosses on Radiant. The icons for these achievements would be the Void Idol in its respective shapes as they appear in the Hunter's Journal. Added to the already existing 63 achievements, this would add up to 68 achievements. But if we wanted to round things off nicely and get a total of 69 achievements, or go ahead and round it up to 70, maybe there could be a separate achievement for the Delicate Flower version of the Godhome ending, and/or beating the game in Godseeker mode. One for the Delicate Flower ending could just be called Delicate Flower, and one for beating the game in Godseeker mode could be called God of Gods. I'm not sure what the icons would be, though, because the flower and the Godseeker's face already appear on other ones. So what do you think? Do you think my changes are reasonable? What changes would you make to Hollow Knight, if any, and why? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to give it a like, share it, check out my other Hollow Knight videos, and subscribe for more. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.